Hey everybody, this is Hussein Kabani, your favorite broker, and you already know who I am. I feel like I don't need an introduction.
I try to get her off the channel, but too many people said that they wanted to see her.
Yes, Chris says our numbers look good when I'm on camera.
Anyways.
All right.
Basically, this is December 2024. Another year in the books, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty close. We're going to Mexico soon, so we figured we might as well record this now.
Yes. We do this a lot. We just book our last minute getaway because we realize, okay, it's the end of the year. You know, it's not that busy. So
yeah,
we're getting away next week.
Yeah. So, I mean, last year and maybe the previous few years, we've had like stories about deals that we've done and things that have gone sideways and all the crazy things. But we actually went back through all of the deals that we've done. We've done a few less, I want to say, than I wanted to, but it's not hurting us. But we did a few less than I projected to. But still, going through those deals, yeah. I don't really see that there was any crazy stories, like anything wild. There's a couple of things with leasing that we've never experienced before, but we've covered them in other videos, whereas tenants sign a 1-year contract and decide that, hey, it doesn't really mean much, we should just leave.
Yeah.
But you can see the other videos about that one. But other than that, really no crazy events or anything else like that.
My initial reaction was a little bit disappointing, to be honest, because I went through the deals chart with you and I said, we have nothing controversial or nothing juicy that we can talk about.
Yeah.
But
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good thing. But you know what? Aside from not having any very juicy stories about deals, I think it's been a pretty cool year because there's been a lot of realization in what we are doing as a couple, as a family, as a business. So maybe we just thought we'd share some of those points with you guys as well.
Yeah, kind of like a recap.
Yeah. So the whole life planning and whatever this year, at the beginning of this year, I'll just quickly do a quick recap if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
So basically at the beginning of this year, we thought that our path can go two different ways. We've been trying to have a kid, going this IVF route, and also like thinking that, hey, it's either this route with the IVF or it's that route of just both of us, because we just enjoy each other's company so much. But it seems like right now, we've been focused on this IVF thing, and we did another transfer this year. It didn't work out. And so we basically did decide that.
Yeah, that I don't want it to sound like, because I know a couple people were like, oh, don't lose hope. I don't think that's what it is. I think we've done IVF for quite a few years now. We've done 2 egg retrievals. We've done 5 transfers, and obviously it hasn't been successful. And I think this year was kind of that decision-making point, which is, okay, yeah, you have to know how much you've tried, how much effort you've put into it. And you also have to know when to stop. Like we talk about this with your coach all the time too, which is just because you keep going at it, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to, achieve the result that you're getting to. Yeah. So the realization was that, hey, we've given it a lot of try and it hasn't worked so far. And you have to, in a way, believe that it's meant. Yeah. If it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. So I think we just realized, hey, we don't want to do this anymore, and we're going to go the other route.
And you know what? The thing about me is that I'm very much of a focused person about, like, I want to set like a long-term goal.
Very calculated.
And the thing is that for me, I operate in a way of that I have to have like an end goal. Like it's either going to be this or it's going to be that. And being in this limbo just makes me complacent, to be very honest. Yeah. Like I don't move either which way because I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So now that I feel like we've kind of picked a path where to kind of go, we have a little bit better direction. But at the same time, what that did is that it actually started to make us question, hey, in life, what do you actually need? If you're not gonna, if the kid thing is not gonna happen, you're not gonna have a family in that sense, then what does life look like, and what do you need? And I've always been questioned by my coaches and people of like, where's the line, Hussein? You've done X, Y, and Z. Like, where do you draw the line? I've talked about it before. I had this one client I'll never forget. She asked me, like, how many townhouses is enough? Like, how many more are you going to buy? Like, what else do you need for your life? And that person still probably doesn't know that, but that was a very pivotal moment that I still remember and recall too, and make judgments on my life based on that small conversation that we had. But yeah, so that made us kind of think about, hey, what makes us happy? What are we going to do? And when is enough enough? And it just changes your perspective. So I think that this year we got that for the last like 6 months-ish right now of basically saying, hey, like, it seems like it's going to go down this way, which is still pretty cool. Yeah. And it could still flip the other way. Like we have a bunch of embryos and whatever else like that. We might get in the mood of saying, hey, let's
try again.
4 of them in and see what happens.
Not happening.
No?
They're
Okay.
going to stay in their freezer for
Everyone
a while.
vote.
No one's voting.
2 or 4.
No.
Okay. But you know what? At least this gave us direction. So now we're thinking about things a little bit differently. Like, do we need a 5,000 square foot house?
Yeah. And I think we talked about this in our last video too, where we realized that, a big home sounds fancy, but it's really not once you start living into it. So I think kind of like that sparked it all together. It sort of sparked one idea for the other. And it's just like, okay, we realize, I think personally, the realization 2024 is that we want to keep things simple. And that obviously includes not having such a gigantic home. We want to keep things like minimal. And then also realizing that, hey, we're going to pause this treatment stuff. If it happens, it happens. But let's move on and do all the other fun stuff that, to be honest, I know we go to Mexico quite often because it's just like convenient. And it's usually sometimes we just want to relax, so we go. But we do want to have different type of like travel plans. We want to do more exploring, more city. Maybe we've even talked about getting away somewhere for like a month. So I think all those things that people usually say they want to do, like, oh, I want to travel. And then we realize, okay, what does that actually mean? And it can't all just be Mexico. So that's another thing that we realized that we want to do more.
Yeah. So it just kind of gave us a little bit more direction and things to kind of aim for, which is what I really like. So that's kind of like, giving us a little bit of a different direction, but it also spins off into a different thing. And this is combined with business and personal at the same time, because I think the business that we're in is becomes so personal, and for 2 reasons. One reason is that, our time is very much blurred. It's not a 9 to 5 where you can shut off and say, hey, that's it. Well, if someone is calling me at 7:00 and something's wrong with the deal, like, I'm not going to say, hey, talk to you at 9 a.m. I'm going to deal with whatever the issue is. If we have an offer that comes in, I'm going to deal with it. So your personal and business time is very much blurred. That is on our personal life, but even with our business life, because the thing is that fortunately, we end up meeting a lot of cool people through our business, and they become friends of ours, and some of them really good friends of ours. So the lines are very much blurred. So all of this leading into is that really taking an account and inventory of who's around you and how they're influencing you and things like that. And I'll touch on it very, very lightly, but it's like, hey, you know what? People that are not like really adding value to what you're doing, or maybe not even adding value, but bring you down in what you are doing. That's where I've just started to cut people. I'm just like, there's no purpose of that, right? Like if someone is going to have like a victim mentality, they're always going to look at you in a down way. They're going to bring your mood down. They're always complaining. Like I'm at a point of being an old man of that. I just don't want to deal with that anymore. There's too many cool things that are happening, and I just don't want to be involved with that. So if somebody's going to become too much to deal with and too much to maintain, I'm just not, sadly enough, I'm not willing to put in the effort. Like we have a lot of cool people around us that we really want to hang out with. But there's other people that you have to really make an effort with. And I'm just finding that's not worth it.
Yeah. And I think we have actually, the word that's coming to my mind is cut off, but I just mean to say that we have limited our time with some of the people that you and I both picked up are draining us. And then at the same time, I think that the amount of people we've gained is definitely greater. It's better than what we've lost. But I think we really actually practiced that this year, which was amazing. Like in the moment when you're doing it, you're stressed and you're like, oh man, this doesn't feel good. Or, should we say it like this or should we do that? But once you kind of have passed that point, you realize, okay, this was actually good. And we're not stressing and having these like down, because then we talk about it. And that's where the lines that you're talking about, like they blur, that our personal life and our business life is very much blurred. So then we end up talking about it. So it happens with somebody else. And then you talk about it with me. And then we talk about it with somebody else. It's like, it just brings the whole thing down. So I think that's the biggest lesson that you and I have learned in 2024, which is choosing your circle wisely.
Because the conversations that we want to have with each other is like, hey, that was such a cool time hanging out with this person or that person or whatever. And not like, oh man, that was such a drag, hanging out with that person for a few hours or whatever. We don't want to have those conversations.
Or like looking forward to doing things, right? Like there's clients turn into friends that we're going to be seeing on Friday. And to be honest, we're like really looking forward to it.
Like Aima was rearranging my schedule just to like make sure that we can go out and hang out with them.
And I like that. I like that feeling that you're looking forward to hanging out with people that you really want to, and not just because,
connect with. Like you guys actually connect on a real level, not on a fake level.
Exactly.
And you know what? Like, and not to drag out this thing, but that's still kind of transpired into like our business practices. Like one of the things is that you guys have heard us talk a lot about like leasing. And I think leasing is such a pain in the butt. That's the nicest way I can put it. Because it's just like, I'm not willing to let it go. I think we're both very petty about these things. Like we want to make sure that everything lines up really nicely. Sometimes our clients get frustrated with us. I'm not going to lie, because they're like, why are you being so hard on these people? But I have a reason. I have a gut feel about it. Like I just don't like it. And if the client wants to move forward with it, like we're good with that. But like, I'm going to say what it is, like whatever I feel, especially because of the environment that we operate in, with the landlord tenant board in Ontario, the way that it is. But that's also led us to making a decision this year and saying like, hey, you know what did we, 29 or 30 leases this year?
30 leases,
we had 30 leases this year. And I'm going to be very transparent with you guys. Like, it is a lot of money, but we made about $30,000, about $1,000 a lease on this whole thing. Do you know how much time goes into doing a lease? Like it's like, I would be hard pressed to say we made $15 an hour on these leases. It's just not worth it. We really want to deliver a high quality for our client and something that we can stand behind, but it's just not worth it. So
even yesterday, all day, just to
all day you spent on qualifying 4 applications that we received.
Because
which 3 turned out to be in complete trash.
It's like 4 applications means two minimum applicants for each file, and then you're looking at so many things, and then we're, again, this is like another thing that we've picked up this year is like, okay, how much is your time worth? And then you realize, oh man, I just spent 7 hours dealing with just this one thing. And mind you, we want to do a good job, so it's not that our heart is not into it, but at the end of it, you say, oh man, this really wasn't worth the headache and whatnot. So this,
like moving forward, I'm going to be very firm on it. You know, the average market is that people will charge you 1 month plus HST. We're not going to do it. Like I just don't think we can do it. We're going to have to charge at least 1.5 months plus HST in order to do the lease. You know, we meet a lot of cool people, a lot of good people through it. And I think that if these good people are willing to realize what we're going to be putting into this thing, then ultimately they're going to have a great experience, I believe. And we're going to stand with them. And they turn out to being good people. So I just think that by charging a bit more, we're going to probably eliminate the people that are going to cause
a ruckus.
A
ruckus.
A bit of a ruckus, right? So I think that we're just going to protect their time that way.
Honestly, I feel like it's going to work both ways. You're going to gain more quality clients, ultimately, hopefully leading into good friends. And then the other way around as well. I think the other person they're going to see the value. If they say, hey, I have to give an extra half month rent, which mind you is a lot of money still.
But when we look at
value add, right?
But when we look at it on a $3,000 lease, it's basically $1,500, which is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But I really believe, and this is the only way I can come out and say it is, I really believe we're actually worth it. And I think we're actually worth more than that. Like I want to charge 2 months rent plus HST, but
actually, I remember you talking to somebody and you said you were going to pay that extra half month rent, but you've got me for life. It's like a subscription, right? And I love the way that you put it. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to be done with you after this lease is done. You've literally bought a subscription to my service, to Aima, to you, to everybody.
Yeah, we're going to support you. Like we're not
till the end of time.
And you mentioned this in another video too, is like we had this person that we have a landlord that we placed a tenant for, and that tenant decided to walk away. We didn't just say, oh, well, hey, here's a lawyer's contact. Here's what you can do. And, you know, we're going to put it back up on the market and here's a bill. We didn't do that. We basically fought tooth and nail to try to figure this thing out, and we're still working on it for free.
So I think that's it. Like I think the biggest takeaway from 2024 is that you choose your circle wisely, whether it's your business, your personal, whatever. Just be surrounded by good people that are gonna, you know, bring you happiness. And it's tough, but it's worth it.
And it depends on what you want and what your life goal is. But like, I think a little bit of it in 2024 has become a little bit more clear to us that we are going to kind of recap, like simplify things. Like we don't want a lot of stuff. Even I bought some pots and pans, but I'm like, let's buy the ones that we don't have to replace until I'm dead. Like I don't want to buy another set of pots and pans. They're $700. Okay.
Secretly, I'm just hoping these new pots and pans are going to, you know, encourage me to cook.
That's not happening. But I know that they're going to be around longer than I am. So that's the value add to that whole thing. Because you just don't want to spend time on researching it, buying it, throwing it out, spending more money. It just doesn't make any sense. So just going for simplicity and just enjoying what life is about, right? Because this has really occurred to me is like you can only spend so much, you can only earn so much money, you can only spend so much. And the other thing I'll add to this is that I have 2 coaches, right? Both of my coaches are in their 60s and they're very valuable to me because I get to actually see a perspective 20 years from now, because I have a very similar mindset to both of these people.
Right.
And it's like, this is me. And if I can avoid some of the stuff that they've done, you know, and shave 10 years off of it and get to enjoyment 10 years faster, because they're both enjoying their lives really, really well right now. Yeah. But if I can get there when I'm 50 versus 60, like it's going to be so worth it.
It's like what people say, if they've already paved the road, why are you going to reinvent the wheel?
Redo it.
The wheel.
And again, to add to this is like, for what status? Is to show people that I live here, or I drive this, or look at me. It's just, I think that's just a brainwashing from what you're watching, social media.
Social media, past traumas.
I mean, not all social media is bad. You should definitely follow Get Kabani and subscribe.
Yes.
All that stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for 2024 going into 2025?
No, I'm excited.
No,
I think, I'm excited. It's like what people say, the new year, new me. I was telling Chris this, that we joke around, oh, new year, new me, you're going to see all these posts and all these goals. But the truth is, it really works. Like, as we got into December, I was like, okay, what are we going to do differently in January? And I really feel like I'm going to be a new person.
You have to keep it going beyond the fluff, right? So you have to keep it going beyond February and March and April, and how are you going to do that?
But it's exciting.
You have to have mechanisms in place. And I know I keep wanting to shut this off, but like, you know, having mechanisms in place, like I was telling Chris as well, is like, we got 16 by 22 desk calendar, and we took all the pages apart and pasted them all against the wall. Like, what's 64 inches? Like, that's big, right?
Yes.
Like, so 64 inches by 60 inches is covering my office wall right now with 12 months. And we're really going to be focused on our days. And when I look at it and already mark out days that we have planned for vacation and camping and using our new trailer and whatnot, it's just like, I actually don't have that much time.
No, it literally is like we're seeing the whole year on the wall. And it's crazy, because you know how people say time went by so fast? It's like you're looking at it and you know, you're like, oh shoot, this
every
is
single day we're watching it.
It's crazy. So I don't know, it's exciting.
So I guess, it's like, hey, what I can say is find these mechanisms to keep you accountable for the time that you're spending, and make sure that it counts, and you're willing, and you're getting to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this little recap chit chat with the Kabanis, and hope you guys have an awesome 2025. Until next time, remember one thing:
get Kabani, get sold.
Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold. Sell it, sell it, sell it, sell it, sold.